Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be testing The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on an RX 6600 GPU paired with the Ryzen 5 3600 and 24 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM. Let's go over the settings here. This game came after a long time after coming on consoles, but yeah, we at least got the game. So we're using full screen 1080p mode, and I'm using FSR 3.1 native AA right now. Yeah, anti-lag is enabled, anti-lag 2 is enabled. I'm not using frame generation or upscaling right now. Alright, so in the settings I've turned everything to the maximum. Okay, everything is towards the maximum right now. Alright, so as you guys can see here, I've just turned off motion blur and stuff like that. Okay, just for the clarity of the image. And when the game actually started, it was in a snowy area, and that was really not intensive, guys. It gave like 10 to 15 FPS more than this, like we're getting right now. Okay, we're close to 30 FPS right now. Now if I start counting the frames here, let's keep on moving forward, and let's see if we could what we could see. But I wanted to get into an area which had a lot of vegetation, and this seems like one of the spots where the game is very intensive, and it's close to 30 FPS. Alright, and it also looks really beautiful compared to the start of the game where there is not much vegetation on the screen. Alright, so close to 30 FPS. Let's keep on moving forward. And Joel just died in the game, and afterwards we are in Seattle. Alright, a squirrel went up that tree. That was interesting. Alright, so still around 30 FPS. I'm thinking maybe FPS is gonna improve. We're at 7.8 gigabytes of VRAM usage, which is really nice. Let's see if we get out of this spot. Maybe we will get some frame rate improvements. Maybe not. Dropping into the 27, but I want to see what's the maximum drops we're gonna get. When I try to move my camera a lot, it's dropping into the 20s, lower 20s, and I also saw 19 FPS, so which is not very nice. Now at this point, we should be actually using not frame generation, but upscaling at least. So I'm gonna just do that. First go here, and let's try upscaling here. And FSR 3.1 on quality is enabled. This is just locked down now, and we are using FSR 3.1 on quality. Alright, this will apply the setting in a little bit, and I don't know if this requires a restart or not. Yeah, I think it requires a restart, so I'm going to be restarting the game, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, I just restarted the game and we are back. We're at 7.6 gigabytes of VRAM usage now. As you guys can see the settings here, we're using the same settings, but we're using FSR 3.1 on quality. Now FPS has improved like 5, we got like 5 FPS more, so I think it's really important that we restart the game whenever we change the settings for this game. Yeah. Alright, so let's keep on moving forward. I've started counting the frames again, 35 FPS average. And although this game, I will be actually testing the game like this. Back at that spot where we were, like if I'm looking at that spot, I'm still getting 35 FPS. So that's really weird. As soon as I'm gonna get out of this forest area, I think I'm gonna be getting more FPS, which seemed like it. Now it's in 48, 40, 38, 48. So as soon as I'm going back to that spot, FPS is kind of improving. Now I don't know where we want to go from here. Maybe this is the right area. Also going to the 50s. That's really weird. So FPS is fluctuating a lot, and which shouldn't be the case in this game. Now it's into the 50s. Maybe we're not going towards the spot where we want to go, where we have to go. I think we're back at the start. Alright, we're in 34 FPS again. So looking at this area, our FPS is very low compared to the other spot. So this is a very good benchmark spot, and I think the vegetation and stuff here is making the game very intensive. I think we have to go here, guys. Yeah, what was I thinking? We have to go here somewhere. Alright, so 40 FPS right now. Now the FPS is improving as soon as we're getting out of this area.
Here we go.
Let's see if it improves further.
Turns out you do know where you're going.
Yeah, it's still improving, but 45, 46 FPS. back into the 40s. Alright, so I think we get the idea. We're at 40 FPS, close to 40 FPS or 41 FPS average. Now let's go ahead and what I'm going to be doing is basically first disabling FSR 3.1 on quality, and we're gonna go back to native AA, and in the graphics I'm gonna go back and apply some presets. Alright, this is very high preset, so we were very close to very high preset at first, so I'm gonna go to high preset and we are going to be restarting the game, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alrighty guys, we are back, and I think motion blur is kinda very distracting in this, so I'm gonna go ahead and first disable motion blur here. Let's go to off motion blur here, and as you guys can see the settings, we are at high settings preset. I just changed the motion blur, and the rest of the settings are the same. We're at native resolution 1080p FSR 3.1 native AA. Alright, so as you guys can see now, wow, this is a lot of improvement from 30 FPS to 48 FPS. Like very good performance gain, just going from very high to high settings. And this doesn't look bad compared to very high settings. It kind of looks the same. If you ask me, there's not much of a difference. And FSR 3.1 native AA makes the image a lot sharper compared to native when you don't use any anti-aliasing or you don't use TAA. Alright, if you use TAA, the image becomes very soft, but FSR 3.1 native AA makes the image look very crisp. Alright, so yeah, I think if you guys want to use native resolution, this would be the best option to go ahead and play this game. This game is very kind of slow paced, not very fast paced, and that makes the game very playable even at 40 to 45 FPS. Although when you're indoors like this, you get very good FPS. You get like in the 60s, as you guys can see right here. So let's go back out, and I want to actually go back.
Anything good in there?
Okay,
Found an old tourist map. Well, that's
I want to actually go back into that forest area, and I want to actually see if we get some dips down into the 30s again. Okay, so let's try to do that, and look at that spot. Still in the 40s. There's not much of a difference still. Vegetation, like in the forest, I can see that vegetation kind of looks a little bit different. Yeah, it looks kind of a little bit different, and FPS is kind of improved. A little bit improved. Where did we come from? I think we came from there. Yeah, so we gotta go back and let's try and see if we get some dips down back into the 30s or not. Yeah, that's the spot where we came from. I wish I could make the horse run faster, because it's very slowish right now. Yeah, so our GPU VRAM usage is kind of at 7.9 gigabytes, which is not bad. So if you've got an 8 gigabyte GPU, I think you're gonna be very fine. You're not gonna have any issues with running this game. So this was the spot where we were getting very good frame rate drops. Not much now, so seems like we are at a very good spot with respect to graphics settings. So with high settings preset and motion blur disabled, I can see that this is a very playable experience. So yeah, I think that I would recommend these settings. Now if you guys want to use get more FPS, let's see if we can get even further with FSR 3.1 on quality enabled. Alright guys, we are back, and FSR 3.1 on quality is enabled. I can see there is some loss in clarity with going from FSR 3.1 native to FSR 3.1 on quality, but it's still very good looking in this game. I observed a lot of ghosting, as you guys can see underneath our feet on the horse. On the grass underneath our feet, you can see the ghosting around our feet. Okay, so it's a little bit distracting at times at 1080p, but it's still very good looking. Okay, don't get me wrong, FSR 3.1 in this game, they've done a very good job like optimizing it and making the image look good. They've done an amazing job. And look at that FPS, we're at 60 FPS. most of the times now. If you guys wanna get like 60 FPS experience, most of the times, I think this is the way to go. So we have to go straight, I think. Now it's dropping into the 50s. Oh my god, this and some stars also. So maybe water is more intensive than the grass and stuff. I don't know. So maybe it is. It dropped for a little bit, but now it's back up. Now it's dropping again.
Think about how well we hide our
So it seems like if we keep going forward, maybe we're gonna get some drops even further. But the game as a whole is quite stable. There are not much stutters. Okay, this can be partly due to my system RAM, which is 24 gigabytes. As you guys can see, the right now is we're at 16 gigabytes of RAM usage. So if you've got 16 gigabytes, I think you're gonna be like reaching the limits of your system RAM. All right, and our VRAM is also at 8 gigabytes, which is not bothering the game much, and there is not much of an issue. Okay, so let's try to lower down the settings now, and I want to go here and turn off FSR 3.1 again. Go into the settings and let's go to medium settings preset. Let's disable motion blur again because I don't like it in this game, and let's restart the game and I'll be right back. Alright guys, we are back at the same spot, and we're at medium settings preset as I showed you guys previously, but I can see that the FPS has not improved much going from high to medium settings. But I can see a lot of difference in graphics, reflections and stuff. They're very low res compared to high settings. So high settings I think is a very good sweet spot for this system. I can see that a lot of our CPU usage is getting weirder. Okay, it's getting to 80% of CPU usage, and GPU is also at 95% or 97% most of the time. So I can't say this is a CPU bottleneck, but I can see that FPS has not improved, which is weird. Now let's go ahead straight forward and let's apply FSR 3.1 on quality. Maybe it's gonna improve the FPS a little bit more. And let's restart the game and I'll be right back with you guys again. Alrighty guys, we are back again, and now I can see there is a lot of FPS improvement from FSR 3.1 native to FSR 3.1 on quality. There's a lot of improvement, and we're at 70 FPS, which is really nice, and 8 gigabytes of VRAM usage, which is pegged at 8 gigabytes, but our CPU usage is at 98%. I think it's compiling shares right now, guys. That's why there's a lot of CPU usage. 96%. Wow. Let's try to move here. 73 FPS and very nice experience, although I'm getting some stutters now. We don't want to see stutters in this game. Okay, I think you guys got the idea of how this game is gonna run. It's really good. It's really well optimized, I think, on this AMD GPU at least. I don't know about other vendors like Intel and Nvidia, how this game runs on those GPUs, but looking at this performance, I can say that it's very well optimized for this for AMD GPUs, and there are not much stutters which I can observe in this game. In 2025, this is God-given, you know, to have a game that doesn't stutter and doesn't have any issues. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. That helps out a lot, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.